There are legends who rise through talent, and then there are legends forged through fire. Steve Harvey belongs to the second kind, a man whose life didn't begin with applause or bright lights, but with a silence so heavy it nearly crushed him. Born on January 17, 1957, in the coal-scarred town of Welch, West Virginia, Steve's earliest memories were not filled with comfort. His father, Jesse Harvey, returned home each night with the black dust of the mines trapped in deep creases of his skin. His mother, Eloise Vera, carried the weight of raising 5 children on a teacher's salary stretched far beyond its limits. When the family later moved to Cleveland, Ohio, the poverty did not leave them behind. It followed like a shadow. Their new neighborhood on East 112th Street was rough, loud, and unforgiving. Decades later, it would be renamed Steve Harvey Way. But back then, it was a battlefield of survival. Every crack in the sidewalk, every cold winter fighting its way through thin walls, reminded the Harvey children that life demanded toughness. And for young Steve, the struggle was doubled. He carried a stutter that imprisoned his words. In classrooms, every attempt to speak felt like stepping into a storm. The broken syllables, the uncertain pauses, they became invitations for ridicule. Children laughed, teachers sighed, and Steve shrank deeper into himself. Until one day in elementary school, the day that carved itself into his memory forever, the teacher asked every student to write what they wanted to become. The room filled with innocent dreams. Firefighter, doctor, pilot. Steve, with small trembling hands, wrote a truth bigger than anything he had ever spoken. I want to be on television. Silence, then laughter. The teacher snatched the paper, ripped it in front of class, and declared his dream impossible. She even called home to accuse him of being unrealistic. It was a moment meant to destroy him. But that night, instead of disappointment, Steve found a spark. His father, a quiet man with rough hands and raw wisdom, didn't let that dream die. He told Steve, "Write again, put it on the wall. Read it every morning and every night until you believe it." That sentence became a seed planted in Steve's soul, a promise he whispered to himself through every humiliation, every hardship, every moment of doubt. Years later, when he finally reached success, Steve mailed that very teacher a brand new television every Christmas. No note needed. The message was built into the screen. The boy who was told he would never be seen had become impossible to ignore. But a dream written on a wall is only the beginning. What happens when the world forces you to choose between survival and destiny? The distance between a dream and its fulfillment is rarely a straight line. For Steve Harvey, it twisted through years of disappointment, exhaustion, and choices that tore pieces out of him long before the world ever heard him laugh. After graduating high school in 1974, Steve stepped into adulthood carrying nothing but determination and a dream he had taped to his wall. But dreams don't pay rent, and the world doesn't open its doors for hope alone. So Steve drifted through a maze of jobs, each one further from the destiny he had promised himself. He carried mail under freezing skies until his fingertips cracked. He scrubbed carpets until his knees stiffened. He sold insurance door to door, counting the slammed doors as part of the job. He even climbed into a boxing ring, taking punches just to make enough to survive. But every night ended the same. A few dollars in his pocket and a hollow ache inside him. A voice kept whispering, "You were meant for more, but what if they were right about you?" And then came the night that changed everything. In 1985, a friend urged Steve to perform at a small open mic event in Cleveland. The club was dim, smoky, and filled with people who were tired from their own long days. Steve stepped on stage with shaking hands, carrying only a fragile joke and a heart full of fear. But when the first wave of laughter broke across the room, something inside him snapped awake. For the first time in his life, he felt seen, not for his flaws, not for his stutter, but for his voice. When the host handed him $50, Steve walked into the cold night with tears running down his face. That crumpled bill wasn't money. It was a prophecy. "I was born tonight," he whispered. The next morning, he quit his job. But destiny doesn't reward courage immediately. Within months, the dream that had finally found its fire collapsed under the weight of reality. Comedy gigs were inconsistent. Money vanished faster than it came. And soon Steve's life unraveled to its lowest point. For 3 long years, he lived in the back seat of a 1976 Ford. That car became his bedroom, his dining room, his shelter, and his prison. He washed in gas station bathrooms. He stored food in a cooler. He slept hungry more nights than he could count. But even in the darkest hours, he kept whispering his father's words. Read your dream every morning. Read it every night. And then at the edge of giving up, fate intervened, not with applause, but through 2 unexpected voicemail messages that would redirect his entire life. What happens when a man on the brink of surrender receives a call that could rewrite his future or end the dream forever? Sometimes destiny knocks softly. Other times, it calls twice in the same night. Steve Harvey was sitting inside his car, cold, broke, and moments away from admitting defeat, when he pressed a button on his answering machine. 2 blinking messages waited for him, holding the power to change everything. The first was from a club in Jacksonville, offering him $150 for a gig. The second was another club booking for the very next night, another $150. To anyone else, $300 was just a weekend. To Steve, it was salvation, just enough to buy a plane ticket to New York, where the producers of Showtime at the Apollo had been waiting for his call. Had he checked that machine a few hours later, his story might have ended inside that Ford. But destiny has a strange way of speaking right when you're ready to quit. With borrowed clothes, barely enough money for food, and a heart pounding with both fear and hope, Steve flew to New York. The Apollo Theater, a stage that had launched countless legends, felt like a cathedral of dreams and danger. The audience was known for being unforgiving, one bad joke, one shaky start, and performers were swallowed alive by the crowd. Backstage, Steve whispered a prayer. Then he stepped into the light. The moment he grabbed the microphone, something inside him aligned. His voice, once broken by stuttering, flowed sharp, confident, unstoppable. Laughter rolled across the crowd in waves. When applause rose to a thunderous roar, Steve felt the weight of every cold night in his car slip from his shoulders. He wasn't surviving anymore. He was becoming. From that night forward, the world began to notice him. Soon after, Steve returned to host Showtime at the Apollo. Not once, not twice, but for 7 straight years. The same stage that had once terrified him became the platform that transformed him into a national name. But success came at a cost. The schedule was brutal. Days blurred into nights. Planes replaced sleep. And every show demanded another piece of his energy. He pushed through exhaustion because he feared the one thing more painful than fatigue: losing what he had fought so hard to reach. As his fame grew, so did his opportunities. Sitcom roles, comedy tours, TV appearances. And in 1997 came the moment that cemented his name in the history of comedy. The legendary Kings of Comedy Tour with Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Bernie Mac. Stadiums roared with laughter, and Steve's voice echoed through arenas like a man who had survived 1,000 storms. Yet behind the humor, behind the spotlight, behind the success, the silent truth followed him. The laughter he shared with the world was born from wounds he never fully healed. But while his career soared higher than he ever imagined, the pressure began to fracture something deeper: his home, his marriage, and his peace. What happens when the price of success becomes the people you love?